Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack. Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And let's just jump into today. Fully vaccinated taxi drivers now have a vaccine sign on their vehicle. With a green illuminated sign that reads vaccine installed on the top of the car, taxi drivers who have been fully vaccinated are earning more during the COVID-19 pandemic. Managing Director of Smart Taxi, Pisa Tinakorna Ayutthaya, who came up with the idea of the sign, explained to Thai PBS that it is aimed at building confidence among commuters and encouraging taxi drivers to get inoculated. As most taxi drivers have only received one dose of the vaccine so far, only 2 taxis in Bangkok are currently displaying the sign. Since Monday, May 24th, the 2 drivers have attracted more passengers, which has increased their income to an average of 600 baht per day. Once drivers receive both doses, they have to present their official vaccination documentation to the company in order to be listed on the Department of Land Transportation's database. One taxi driver who has received both doses said that commuters feel more confident using taxis. He also said that having the signs on taxis is a good idea, as it will attract more customers. It's an interesting story, and I think it's a great idea. So basically, taxis now have a little vaccine sign with a tick beside it to say that the driver is vaccinated, and that of course will instill confidence for people who want to get a taxi, but maybe fearful, of getting in such an enclosed space with somebody. So, some kind of proactive thinking going on there from the taxi industry, and it's a great thing to see. FDA approves use of Sinopharm vaccine. Thailand adds another COVID-19 vaccine to its arsenal as the Food and Drug Administration has just approved the Sinopharm vaccine for emergency use. Biogenet tech company submitted a registration application that has been under consideration by the FDA until receiving approval today. Sinopharm joins Sinovac, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson and Moderna to be officially approved for use in Thailand. The Sinopharm vaccine has already been approved by the World Health Organization for emergency use, but still was required to be evaluated in Thailand for its safety and effectiveness. It is manufactured by the Beijing Institute of Biological Products and is an inactive vaccine. The recommended dosage is 2 injections spaced 28 days apart, similar to other approved vaccines. So we have another vaccine that has been added to the list of approved vaccines by the Thai FDA. Currently, Thailand are only using Sinovac and AstraZeneca, but this is going to be used by the Princess's Academy, the CRA, and they've ordered about 1 million of them. So that'll be enough for about 500,000 people. I think they're going to be sold at about 1,000 baht per shot. So, and they will be sold to various different businesses, etc. around the country who want to vaccinate their employees or staff or whatnot. I also know that the CRA opened an application online, but it was only open for a day or 2 and it's closed again now, so you can't actually register on there anymore. But maybe it will open up again when they have more vaccines on hand. But again, more light at the end of the tunnel during this whole COVID pandemic crisis. 32 arrested drinking, smoking at a restaurant. Pattaya. 32 people, Thais and foreigners, were arrested at a restaurant in Pattaya where customers were drinking alcohol and smoking baraku on Thursday night. Police led by Major General Chai In, crime suppression chief at the Pattaya police station, raided Sky Mountain Lembali High Eatery in Tambong Nong Pru, Ban Lamung, at around 11:30 p.m. on Thursday. They were acting on information the restaurant illegally allowed customers to drink alcohol and smoke inside the premises in defiance of controls implemented to curb the spread of COVID-19. When police arrived, they found customers were drinking and smoking shisha tobacco from baraku or hookahs. They arrested 24 Thais and 7 foreign customers and 1 employee, the caretaker, who were taken to the Pattaya police station. The customers were charged with violating the disease control order and illegally assembly in a violation of the emergency decree. The caretaker was charged with violating orders by the Centre for COVID-19 Situation Administration by allowing alcohol drinks to be consumed inside the premises, not having a restaurant license, and illegally providing baraku and alcoholic drinks. So, again, you would think after a while a lot of people would get the message that you're not going to get away with this drinking and hanging out in bars during this third wave, but it seems to have there seems to be no end in sight to what people will do to have a smoke and a little drink at night time. I mean, you know, it's not going to go on much longer, these kind of regulations. So I mean, getting yourself in trouble over it seems rather silly to me, but you know, people will do these things, I guess. Phuket to ease COVID restrictions from June 1st. Phuket officials will relax a wide range of business closures on the island in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and relax measures to allow people to enter the province under a new order yet to be issued but announced to come into effect on June 1. The Phuket Communicable Disease Committee resolved to allow the relaxation of COVID-19 measures at a meeting held in Phuket Provincial Hall yesterday, May 27th, said a report by the Phuket Office of the Public Relations Department. Among the 23 committee members present were the Phuket Vice Governor and the Phuket Provincial Administration Organisation. From June 1st, people entering Phuket by road still must be fully vaccinated or have tested negative for the virus. However, instead of the previous requirement that arrivals must have tested negative for the virus within 72 hours of arriving, officials will require that the test have been conducted within 7 days of arriving. Tests to prove a person is not infected can be either RT-PCR or rapid antigen. Children up to 5 years of age travelling with their parents must also have tested negative for the virus. People unable to prove either will be required to observe a 14-day quarantine if they want to enter Phuket. The same relaxations apply for people arriving via the airport except children under 5 years old, who will not be required to have been tested. Not mentioned in the report was that air passengers travelling to Phuket currently must present the required documentation at the airport of origin, or else they will not be allowed to board the flight. Not said, but presumed to be in effect, is that quarantine in Phuket is not an option for people arriving on the island by plane. Under the new order to be issued, many businesses across the island will be allowed to reopen from June 1. However, PR Public Chief confirmed to the Phuket News today that the pubs and bars will be required to remain closed and the ban on alcohol at restaurants will remain in effect until further notice. Also, still suspended from reopening are schools and educational institutions under the supervision of the Ministry of Education, which are currently set to resume classes on June 14th. Meanwhile, the venues and businesses allowed to reopen from June 1 were given as follows: spa businesses, establishments, massage businesses for health or beauty, tattoo parlours or piercing parlours, venues for fortune telling or other similar activities, venues where amulets are sold, venues where customers can fish for shrimp or fish, scuba diving businesses, including tourism-related businesses as well as businesses that operate snorkeling activities, walking street markets, flea markets, retail stores, hotels, wholesaler venues, community malls and marketing, all private nurseries, food or beverage shops that allow customers to consume food or beverage at the venue may reopen within their normal permitted hours. Stadiums, beauty clinics, golf courses, pet care and grooming venues can reopen. Pet care. Anyway, all types of businesses to reopen under the relaxation measures must operate in strict compliance with the standard and requirements of the Ministry of Public Health. The provincial government will expand the preparation of the required orders as soon as possible and expected to come into effect on June 1, 2020 onwards, the report added. So seems to be a relaxation of rules and regulations in Phuket. Again, still you can't go into a bar, have a drink. You're walking around with a face mask all day on you when you're sitting in your car even. July 1 is coming up and people travelling to Thailand for holidays will not be coming to not be able to have a drink and enjoy themselves and have freedom. So I hope the Phuket governor is listening, but it's time to take the finger out and get back to normal life in Phuket. Another thing about the entry into Phuket, what science this is based on, that you can have a test that's 7 days old. I've never heard of this. My personal experience going to the Phuket checkpoint is basically they really don't care. They barely look at any documentation and they wave you through. Seem to be more concerned at how many people are in the car. I've also heard from friends that they don't check PCR tests at all and it's just a wave through. So it seems to me that the regulations are a little kind of lax at the checkpoint. Probably not to piss too many people off either, and I can completely understand that. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.